just testing the two cameras right now. So hi everyone, welcome to the You Unfolded Live and Learn today. So I'm going to ask you, are you an integrator or a segmenter? Knowing the difference between the two and knowing which one you are is what is going to help you with work-life balance, which is what we're going to be talking about today. So again, I am Yentl Lega. I am a holistic dietitian and certified mental health professional. And on here on the You Unfolded Live and Learns, we just talk about different well-being and self-care tips to help you unfold your healthy, balanced, and beauty-filled life without reservations, restrictions, or so-called standards. So hi everyone that's joining, welcome. So last week in the live with Yentl, which was an impromptu live stream, I did put a poll to ask you, what did you want to talk about today? If it was ways to find your calm or work-life balance. And you voted work-life balance. So that's what we're going to talk about today. And balance is actually such a huge buzzword. We hear it all the time, first of all, but also we strive for it. We are constantly trying to figure out what is our balance. So balance seems so elusive for most of us. I mean, how many of you feel that you are balanced or have a balance between work and everything else? I mean, how many of you feel that? Or would you say, you know what, nope, I'm still working on it? So I would say most of us fall in the category of I'm still working on it. So there's going to be a very simple way today to identify how to find balance for you. But first of all, what is balance, first of all? Most of the time, when we think of balance, we think of the literal balance, like the balance scale. So we think that finding balance is actually trying to find a way to give every part of our lives equal attention. I see, definitely working on it, I hear you. So, I hear you, Flor, yes. So, when we think about balance that way, that we're trying to have everything with the same amount of weight to it, we're actually reaching for the impossible. Because what we're doing is we're thinking that we can multitask. And I got bad news for you. There's no such thing as multitasking. We can't do that. Our brain can't do that. What we're actually trying to do is trying to focus on too many things at once that we actually aren't even focusing on anything and really not giving our best to anything. And that is what leads to burnout. So now that we know, okay, balance isn't about a scale. So what is balance? Actually, in the Webster's dictionary, what balance simply means is mental and emotional steadiness. So basically, it's just finding what is calm for you, what is peace for you. So that's where the integrator and segmenter come in. So I asked in the beginning, which one are you, integrator or segmenter? You're probably looking at me like, okay, what the heck is that? So I'm going to talk about each of those. And this was very interesting. I saw this in an article recently. So I'll ask you this question first. So if balance is just emotional and mental steadiness, just finding that calm, that peace of mind, is it bad to be a workaholic if that is your love, if that is what you love, if that is where you find your peace of mind, if it's something that you are absolutely passionate about? Is it then really bad? Can you really feel balanced if you're someone who's considered a workaholic. So think about that for a moment. There's also people who, I mean, they look forward to doing what they do on the weekend, so it doesn't feel like work to them. They can work long hours, and again, it doesn't feel like work to them because they love it. It's like it's like, imagine you go to the movies and then afterwards you tell yourself like, okay, I need some recovery time from going to the movies. It doesn't make sense, right? Because I mean, going to the movies is something that you enjoyed, you liked. You don't really need like downtime or a break from it. So there are people who, they love their work so much, they're so passionate about it. It's really what brings them joy and what brings them peace of mind. So they don't necessarily need to recover from it. They don't necessarily need breaks or vacations as often, but most of us are probably in the category where we need a break or a vacation. So I can say I'm definitely one of those people that I do need a break or a vacation. So I'm gonna go into now what integrators and segmenters are. So integrators are actually people who like to blend work and life together. So these are the people who may have even been brought up in a family business. So talking about business at the dinner table was natural and normal. Like it was just as natural as breathing to them. It's the thing, you know. They don't see a separation because it was part of their life. These are also the people that, so like the lines can be a little bit blurred between work and life. You know, they don't really have, you know, a set time where they say, okay, this is work, or a set place where they say this is work and this is where work ends. It's kind of like they easily transition between work and life. Those are integrators. Segmenters are actually people who have more strict boundaries between work and life. So I'm just looking at my notes here. I don't want to forget certain things. So mixing work with life actually feels inappropriate, and it doesn't feel right to them. It feels bothersome. It just doesn't seem like that's the thing to do for a segmenter. Sometimes they go as far as not putting pictures up of their family in their offices, or if they have work parties, they may not bring, you know, any of their family members to the work parties. They strictly separate the two. So which one, the integrator or the segmenter, would you say is better or more committed? And while you think about that, it's also important to know which one you are, if you're a segmenter or an integrator, to help you with work, and not just with work, but with your relationships outside of work. So this is going to help you know what gives you peace of mind, what gives you true balance. So think about it this way too, to give you more examples. You know, are you somebody who doesn't mind getting emails on the weekend or getting calls on the weekend for work? You know, yet maybe you're more of an integrator, but if you're someone who really just needs that cutoff time, that downtime to just completely disconnect and say, you know, hey, sorry, don't contact me on the weekends, then it's good to know this, because then it helps you to work better with your team members at work and with your family. Because not everyone is going to be just like you. Not everyone's going to be an integrator. Not everyone's going to be around you is going to be a segmenter. So you got to figure out which one are you, and then be fluid about it, in the sense that whichever one you are, it's not a fixed trait. And actually, it doesn't make you better or more committed, or it doesn't make you lazy either, because that's what can happen. Someone who's a segmenter can look at an integrator as a workaholic that doesn't know when to turn things off. And integrators can sometimes look at somebody who is a segmenter as lazy. They'll probably think like, why are you just sitting here doing nothing? Like, you could be doing something with your time. It can cause tension, not just at work, but with your relationships. And that tension is actually what makes you feel as though there isn't real balance between the two. So what can you do? Definitely both the segmenter and the integrator need to place boundaries. And I see someone commented, and I am so far away from the computer, I cannot see who commented. I am so sorry. I'm going to check in just a moment. But I see also Flor said, I can relate more to being a segmenter. Is that the correct spelling? Yes, it is the correct spelling. I don't even think that's an actual word, because every time I would type it, it would give me a misspelling. I am with you, Flor. I'm the same way. I am somebody who has to cut things off at a certain time. On the weekends, don't bother me. Even on the weekends, social media, I am just not even on it. So yeah, it's good to know which one you are. And it is important to set boundaries, especially now that I mentioned social media. With technology nowadays, it definitely is much easier to stay connected, but it's a double-edged sword because it's much easier for people to find you and reach you and have like instant access to you. And that's when integrators, that even though, again, like I said, neither one is better than the other, but this is where integrators could start maybe placing more boundaries, because integrators are the ones who have a harder time setting those boundaries. So this is where integrators can actually start saying, well, okay, I need to place boundaries. So how do you place boundaries? It's very simple. You can ask 3 simple questions. First, who, then when, then how. Who, when, and how. So who, and this is where you set your priorities. Who is going to be in your priorities, in what order? So, I hear many people say, God first, family second, business third. Place those priorities. I'm not saying those exact ones, but line up your priorities for who, if there's an emergency in all those areas, because it happens. There could be a work emergency, at the same time there's a family emergency, at the same time there's a friend emergency. Like, there could be emergencies in every aspect. So it helps to prioritize who is going to take precedence when that happens. Okay, first, if all of these things are chaotic, the first thing I'm going to take care of is this. So have those priorities of who, when. So prioritize when you're going to dedicate time to those areas. So for example, with work, when are you going to allow yourself to be available to take care of work related things? Set those boundaries. Actually say, from this time to this time, you can reach me. After that, this is what is going to be set forth if it's outside of those hours. So do make sure that you set the times also in a way that it doesn't get in the way of your goals. And the last thing was, like I mentioned, how. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. So it was who, when, and how. How are you going to help in those areas? So if, I would say, for example, you will be available to help in a way that you can uniquely provide help in that area. So If it's something that only you would need to speak to that person, then allow yourself to be available for that. But if it's something that they can easily get from someone else, that can be delegated somewhere else or to someone else, let's say there's a resource you can direct them to, whether it's a human resource, whether it's a person, or whether it's, you know, an article or a video or something online, then redirect them. So I'll give you the example. Like for me, I'm a dietitian, so by profession. So there could be times where, you know, there's someone that just simply wants to have breakfast ideas, breakfast recipe ideas. That's something that I don't have to spend a lot of time with them actually telling them, well, cook this, use these ingredients, and this is how you, like, go through the whole recipe. I could just say, you know what, there's this great website that has tons of awesome recipes that you can look through, and, you know, you can pick out the ones that you like, as opposed to me really taking all that time to break all the recipes down, because it's, you know, that there wasn't something that was uniquely needed from me. So if it was something where they had a question more specific to their health, that they can't find the answer so easily somewhere else, then I would take the time. I'm not saying I won't waste time on people, but this is just an example to give you as to also to delegate tasks, delegate things, and delegate and value your time more. Because whenever we are stretched thin, and then whenever we are trying to again do the multitasking, which is again an impossible thing, when we're trying to focus on too many things at once, that's what's going to lead to burnout. So not necessarily does it mean that working long hours or working on the weekends is what is going to, you know, burn you out. It's actually not finding that balance of, okay, these are my clear boundaries. And knowing too, especially if you're an integrator and your partner is a segmenter, also being mindful of that too. You know, when we're single, it could probably be easy to spend a lot of time on work and, you know, not have to go out to the movies or anything like that, because we're happy doing the work that we do. But when you have relationships, a family, whether it's a partner or kids involved as well, you know, the time with you is also very valuable, and it's important to try to maybe ease off on integrating so much of your work into your life and really just focus on the relationships that really matter. So that is the topic for today. You know, finding work-life balance through figuring out whether you're an integrator or a segmenter. And let me know in the comments, which one are you? I already had one. Flor mentioned he's a segmenter. I'm also a segmenter. Are there any integrators out there? Are you someone who you identify yourself as an integrator, as somebody who really blends, who likes to blend work and life together? And, oh, sorry about that. Somehow my camera decided to turn sideways, but I'm actually going to go over here to look at some of the comments. But next week, I am going to be doing something different and special. So stay tuned for that. Next week is going to be something totally different with the Live and Learn. Also, let me turn you around so it doesn't look so strange. Don't forget, I still have the giveaway, the Balanced Beauty giveaway, and I'm coming a little closer here with my Facebook people. There's the Balanced Beauty giveaway. The link, again, is in my bio here on Instagram, and it's on Facebook. You'll see the link as well. I'll send it to you. So I'm just going to look at some of the comments here before I go. Thank you, Flor. She said, great topic. Great topic. Also from Brent, thank you. Awesome tips from George. George is my husband, actually. He says he's an integrator transitioning to a segmenter, and that is so true. He really is. He was the one who I was referring to when I was saying when you're single, working long hours, and now that you got a partner, gotta find time for them. So yeah, and then that's it. So thank you again for joining. If you have any other questions and everything, you know, you can always ask later. I would always come back here and look at the comments and answer. And see you next week. Stay tuned for what is coming up. And remember to silence the standards because you are more. Bye, everyone.